here.
From number 3?
Yeah.
Oh, just come up. What's the matter?
Escape of gas.
Oh. Here, let me try. Mr. Page? Mrs. Page? Mrs. Page? It's all right, I had the pass key. Oh, it's all here right enough. Wicked waste.
Hey, careful, Mrs. Elton. Put something over your mouth.
Oh, it's not as bad as that.
Bad enough if you've got a bit of a head anyway, like I have.
Left his cooker on all night, I expect. Someone will blow this whole house up one of these days. That's what'll happen.
Well, there's nobody in here. Bed hasn't been slept in.
Look! Oh, heavens.
Hey, quick, get a doctor or someone.
Mrs. Page! Mrs. Page! She's not dead, is she?
No, I don't think so. Help me take her over to the window.
All right, I'll take her legs. That's it.
Careful.
Yes, all right. There we are. Wasn't on. The gas wasn't on at all.
Mrs. Elton, open that window real wide.
In 23 years, never a speck of trouble in the house, and now, Mrs. Page, of all people.
Where's the nearest doctor, Mrs. Elton?
Let me see. Dr. Brown? No, he's on his holiday.
Get me a cushion.
I know. I'll get Mr. Miller.
The guy upstairs, she means he's not a doctor, is he?
Oh, he's a bookie or something.
What's happening, Mrs. It's nothing at all. I'm sorry, Mrs. Abraham.
What's going on, Mr. Thompson?
It's just a little accident with the gas stove, Mrs. Abrahams. We're seeing to it.
Hey, what's this?
Take one at night.
She must have wanted to dope herself before the gas. Because... Oh, thank goodness. It's all right. You'll be all right. You're with friends.
The gas wasn't on at all. Here, Mr. Miller. I suppose what must have happened, it switched itself off at the meter.
She came to a moment ago and mumbled something.
Here, Miss Maxwell found this.
It's a crime in this country, no attempted suicide.
Well, how can we be sure it is attempted suicide?
Because gas fires don't turn themselves on and sleeping pills don't jump out of bottles.
How many? How many? Answer me, how many?
7. 7? That's a lot, isn't it?
Where's the bedroom?
In here.
Bring my bag. Mrs. Elton, a glass of warm water and a teaspoon, please.
Mrs. Elton! Mrs. Elton!
Put the bag down on the bed. Open it.
Mrs. Elton!
I'll go and see to it, Mrs. Elton. Mrs. Elton's busy. What is it?
It's the laundry. She wanted it delivered this morning.
Tell him to wait.
You'll have to wait.
Wait? I can't wait.
Oh, it's the laundry man, Mrs. Elton. He says he can't wait.
I can't come now. Leave it downstairs.
Where's the water?
The water, Mrs. Elton.
Coming.
Take the bottle from the right-hand corner of the case.
This one?
The heat teaspoonful in the water.
Hurting me. You're hurting me.
Thank you. That's all. Drink this.
What are you doing?
Kindly close the door as you go out.
Yes, sir.
Makes me feel sick.
That's the point. Mrs. Elton, a towel, please.
Well, he's kind of rough, but I guess he knows his job. Maybe we were wrong.
I don't think so. To me, it's just a big phony. At the Wingmore, we call it playing to the gallery.
Say, Miss Maxwell, what's this?
I knew there'd be one.
What?
Suicide note.
Well, how do you know?
It's just got one word written on it. Freddie.
Freddie. Yeah, that's her husband, isn't it?
Yes. Should we open it?
Oh, heavens, no. We'll put it right back where we found it. Maybe wanted by the police.
Police? Oh, dear.
How is she? Well, he doesn't say, but she's looking much better. I've got to warm up some black coffee.
Mrs. Elton, don't you think we ought to get in touch with Mr. Page?
Yes, haven't you any idea where he might be?
No, I can't say I have.
Well, don't you know where he works?
Well, I don't know that he does work. Believe it's something to do with aeroplanes, or used to be anyway.
Well, she must have some relations in London that we could get hold of.
Yeah, what about her friends?
She always seemed to me to have precious few. And those that did come always asked for him, not for her.
Well, you must be able to think of someone, Mrs. Elton. Unless, of course, you'd like us to send for the police.
The police?
Yes, I'm afraid we'd be forced to.
Well, I suppose there is her husband.
Why, isn't Mr. Page her husband?
I never said that. Anyway, my tenants' affairs are their own business, and what I know I don't gossip about.
Look, Mrs. Elton, if the police come, it'll all have to come out anyway, so you may as well tell us. Now, who is her real husband?
You mean her first husband?
That's what Miss Maxwell means, of course.
All right. His name's Collier. Sir somebody Collier. William, I think it is.
Sir!
And what's more, he's a judge. There it is, then. Now, I hope you're both happy.
Now, where's the... Here it is. I always knew there was something about her, but I mean a judge. Oh, really? No, Collier.
Hey, do you really think we should?
Yes, of course we should. Here it is. Sir William Collier, 103 Chester Square, Sloane 2116. Sloane, yes. Oh, I'll dial and you speak.
Hey, why me?
Because you're a man.
Oh, I don't see what that's got to do with it. Hello? Could I speak to Sir Collier, please?
Sir William.
You sure? It sounds kind of familiar.
Yes, go on.
Sir William, I mean. Oh, well, no, he won't know who I am.
Say it's about his wife.
It's about Mrs. Collier.
Oh, she'll give it to me. Hello, this is Dawn Maxwell. Sir William won't know who I am either, but it's vital that we speak to him. It's about his wife. Sir Collier, really? Is that you, Sir William? This is Dawn Maxwell speaking. Sir William, I think you ought to come round here right away. 27 Weybridge Road, on the embankment near Battersea Bridge. Well, I don't think I ought to tell you that on the phone, should I? Well, I can tell you this much, Sir William. It's got to do with gas and sleeping pills. No, but very ill. Well, there was nobody here, and I thought you ought to know. Yes? Yeah, 27 Weybridge Road. That's right. He's coming straight round.
Well, I just hope it's okay.
Of course it's okay.
He's sitting up now. Drank her coffee quite peacefully. Of course, still a bit weak. Mr. Miller, give me a call if I'm wanted. I'm all behind with everything.
You got a cigarette?
Sure. Here, Doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
Sorry. Is she all right now?
Not yet. She will be, I suppose, after a couple of hours in bed.
Physically, yes. But what about her mind?
You make that distinction. Seems to me her mind is perfectly sound.
Well, how could it be sound when she tried to kill herself?
She wanted to die, I gather.
Well, mightn't she try and do it again?
I'm not a prophet. In fact, as a bookmaker, I make a fairly respectable living out of other people's pretensions to prophecy. Still, if you want me to be upfront for once, I would say that she would try again and try again very soon, unless...
Unless?
Nothing. I was just talking to myself.
Well, what are we going to do about it?
Just hope, I suppose, that she'll bungle her second attempt as badly as she bungled her first. Excuse me, I've got my work to do.
Well, there's callousness for you if you like.
Look, I gotta go. Here's my number at the office. You can call me there.
Oh, should you be out of bed?
I came out for a cigarette. There was a packet here last night, I think. I know I brought some. Oh, yes, here they are. Thank you. You're Mr. Johnson, aren't you?
Thompson.
Oh, yes, of course. How silly. Good morning, Miss Maxwell.
Good morning.
Do you mind if I sit down? I still feel a little strange.
Don't you think you ought to go back to bed?
No, I feel much better sitting up, thank you. I'm so sorry for all the trouble I caused.
Oh.
Idiotic accident, wasn't it? I don't know how it could possibly have happened. I'd been out to a film by myself, and I came back here. I remember thinking it was a bit chilly, so I turned on the gas fire to light it. And then, as they say in novels, I knew no more. I couldn't find the matches, I suppose, and the fumes must have put me out.
Lucky for you, you didn't put a shilling in the meter first.
The meter?
Yes, the gas cut itself off automatically.
Oh, that's what happened, is it? Yes. Yes, that was lucky.
Certainly was. Well, Mrs. Page, forgive me. I gotta go to work.
Of course, please don't let me keep either of you. It's very good of you both to have done all you have.
Well, goodbye. I hope it won't take you long to get well again.
You looking for something?
Just a letter I thought I left lying around somewhere.
Is this it?
Yes, that's the one. Please don't let me keep you, Miss Maxwell.
Oh, it's all right. I've got nothing to do. I never have when Mr. Higgins is away.
Mr. Higgins? Oh, yes, of course, Mr. Higgins.
Besides, I've got something to tell you.
Oh?
You see, Mrs. Page, when we found you this morning, we had no idea where Mr. Page was.
Oh, hadn't you?
No. So, well, I felt we had to call someone, and I did.
Who?
Can't you guess?
Who told you about him, Mrs. Elton?
Well,
And what did you tell him?
I told him there'd been an accident. He's coming right round. I know you probably don't like what I've done, but I'm not going to say I'm sorry.
Miss Maxwell, you've been very kind, and I'm grateful. Forgive me if I seem rude, but would you mind leaving me now?
Well, it was only that Mr. Thompson and I thought it was the right thing to do. Anyway, chin up, love. There's nothing ever quite so bad, but thinking makes it worse.
Mrs. Elton.
Good morning, Mrs. Page.
Good morning.
Not dressed yet? It's quite cold out today, you know.
Yes, so I hear. Mrs. Elton. Mrs. Elton.
Yes, coming. Now, this is really silly, Mrs. Page. Didn't you hear Mr. Miller?
Mrs. Elton, Sir William Collier may be coming here. And if he does, I don't want to see him.
Oh, Mrs. Page, I'm so sorry. It wasn't my fault. Really, it wasn't.
No, I quite understand. Will you please try and stop him from coming up to the flat? It's important.
Don't worry, I'll do my best. I wish I could understand what it was that possessed you to do a dreadful thing like that.
What possessed me, Mrs. Elton? The devil, I suppose.
I should just think it was.
Not sure I'm in quite that kind of devil. But when you're between any kind of devil and the deep blue sea sometimes looks very inviting. It did last night.
I can't make you out. You're not a wicked woman. What you did last night was wicked and cruel. Now, supposing it had been Mr. Page and not you that we'd found lying there this morning, how would you have felt?
Very, very surprised.
Nothing more?
Oh, here's a lot more. A whole universe more. But he's not lying there, Mrs. Elton. He's playing golf. And when he comes back from golf, he must know nothing of what happened last night. You understand? Nothing.
I understand, Mrs. Page. Go in. It's always open.
Oh, excuse me, which is Mrs. Page's flat?
I'm sorry, sir. Mrs. Page is too
It's
ill.
all right, Mrs. Elton.
Are you all right?
Quite all right.
Well, what happened?
How much did they tell you on the telephone?
Well, enough to save you the necessity of lying to me. Hester.
Come on, Jenny, hurry.
I think we'd better go upstairs. I'm afraid it isn't exactly Versailles. One of Freddie's friends was sent away suddenly, and I suppose we were very lucky to get anything. Anyway, I like the river, in spite of the fog. I always have. Here we are.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you again, Bill.
Thank you. It's nice to see you, too.
You still look exactly the same.
Oh, I'm sorry. You so rarely used to smoke.
You haven't changed a bit.
Haven't I?
But why should you have? It's only 10 months, isn't it? I keep thinking it's so much longer.
Has it seemed so much longer?
Yes, Bill. Almost a lifetime. Oh, do sit down. Would you like a glass of sherry? I remember you used to have one before court.
Thank you.
I know we had a bottle somewhere. Oh, yes. Here it is. I'm afraid it's from the local grocer.
That's quite all right. I'm sure it'll be very nice. Has he deserted you?
He's playing golf at Sunningdale.
And he still loves you?
As much as he did 10 months ago.
And you still love him?
Yes, Bill, I still love him.
Is it money?
No, it isn't money.
He's still got his job, then?
Well, not as a test pilot. He's given that up. He's working in the city now.
Oh. And they allow him to play golf on Mondays?
You're on the wrong track, Bill. Oh, all right. All right, he hasn't got a job. We do owe a month's rent. But still...
I'm trying to ask you the reason for what you did last night.
Let's say I did it while the balance of my mind was temporarily disturbed. That's the legal phrase, isn't it?
Yes. Then tell me what it was that disturbed the balance of your mind.
Cross-examination was always your strongest point, wasn't it, Bill?
Please, Hester, what was it?
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, I don't know. A great tidal wave of illogical emotions.
Can you give a name to those emotions?
Yes, I suppose so. Anger, hatred, shame in about equal parts, I think.
Anger at Paige.
Yes.
And hatred?
Myself, of course. Shame at being alive.
I see.
Do you, Bill?
No, I don't. Problems of human nature are supposed to be my speciality. I ought to be able to understand. And yet here I'm utterly at sea.
What can't you understand?
How you, who could surely still find love wherever you chose to look for it, how you can go on loving a man who, quite obviously, can give you nothing in return.
Oh, but he can give me something in return. And even does from time to time.
What?
Himself. You haven't had your drink, Bill.
Oh, thank you. Did you do that?
Yes. It isn't a genteel hobby anymore. I get paid for it now. I might sell that one to Baird and Holloway.
I ran into Angus Baird the other day. He told me that you'd worked for him for a time in his shop. He said you were rather good. Why did you give it up?
Oh, I don't know. Many reasons. I hope you like it, Bill. You never cared much for my things before.
I like it so much, I'd like to buy it.
Oh, please, Bill. I wanted your approval, not your money. Who is it?
Miller, may I come in?
Oh, that's the man who looked after me this morning. I'd better let him in.
I see you don't care for your bed.
Thanks to your administration, Mr. Miller, I feel perfectly well. This is Sir William Collier, Mr. Miller.
No. Come over here to the light. Let me look at you. Follow my finger, please. Yes, you have a strong constitution. You should live to a ripe old age.
Barring accidents, of course.
Barring accidents, of course. Forgive me, I left some of my things in your bedroom. May I collect them?
Oh, I'll fetch them for you. Excuse me, Bill.
The syringe is in the bathroom.
I'm extremely grateful to you, Mr. Miller, for all you did this morning for Mrs. Page.
You needn't be. I did very little for Mrs. Page.
May I ask you, Mr. Miller, if you're a qualified medical practitioner?
You may. The answer is no.
Oh. I only ask the question because a qualified doctor in a case of this rather delicate kind is strictly bound by a certain code.
Yes, I have heard of it. It's much the same as the English schoolboy's code, isn't it? No sneaking. Don't worry, Sir William. I won't sneak.
I'm glad we understand each other. No, thank you. Now, I take it you would agree with me that Mrs. Page should really be in bed under proper medical supervision.
You take it quite incorrectly, Sir William. If she wants to be on her feet, she should be. And the help she needs at the moment is hardly medical.
I hope you'll find everything there.
Thank you. Good day, Mrs. Page.
Thank you, Doctor.
Well, according to that gentleman, you're as right as rain. Let's hope he's to be trusted.
Oh, I think so. He looks far too much like a blackmailer to be one.
I wish I could be as sure. You know, I really do admire that very much, and I don't see why Baird and Holloway should be the ones.
Well, then you shall have it, Bill. But as a present.
Oh, I couldn't possibly.
Please, Bill.
I can see this is not the time to argue with you.
No. Don't you think you ought to be going? I don't want to commit contempt of court by making you late.
Oh, of course. As a matter of fact, Miss Wilson has already telephoned the court to warn them I'd be a bit late.
How is Miss Wilson? I bet she's been pounding that typewriter with a positive paean of triumph since I left.
There is perhaps a certain added flourish to her style. Hester, when can I see you again?
I don't know. It's awfully difficult.
What time are you expecting Page back?
7:30, maybe later.
Could you have tea with me after court?
You sure you really want me to?
Quite sure.
About 5?
5:20. Main lobby, usual place. And thank you very much for my present. Which reminds me, many happy returns of yesterday.
Thank you.
If I'd known where you were, I'd have sent you a present.
I've had far too many presents from you, Bill, and given you far too little in return. And now you've just done something else which makes me even more grateful to you than ever.
What's that?
You haven't said I told you so. And heaven knows you had every right. Well, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, Mrs. Page, I was wondering if you'd like me to do anything for you.
No, thank you.
Oh, well, I just thought I'd ask.
This is Sir William Collier, Miss Dawn Maxwell.
How do you do?
We've already spoken to each other, haven't we?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I thought it was best, looking at it from all angles. I do hope I did right.
You're quite right. I'm very grateful to you.
Sir William has to get to court.
Oh, yes, of course. You mustn't miss your entrance, must you?
Entrance?
Miss Maxwell is on the stage.
Oh, indeed.
Oh, well, I used to be. I'm a bit between engagements at the moment. But not worrying, really. Not with one thing and another.
Indeed. Oh, good morning.
Striking, isn't it? I mean, one doesn't expect a judge to look like that, does one? Well, I don't know, really. I don't.
What don't you know?
How you could possibly... Now, you don't mind my being blunt with you, do you? But how you could possibly throw yourself away with... Oh, well, I suppose I shouldn't say that, really. Tracker and arsongu, as Mr. Higgins always said. But it just goes to prove one thing that I've known all along. That you no more fit into this place than I do into Park Lane.
And this lorry comes round the corner and as near as touch scrapes the offside bumper. Then he shouted at me. I thought you must have heard it, sir, from inside.
What? No, I didn't.
Of course, the policeman...
You haven't said I told you so.
They wouldn't...
Goodness knows you had every right.
I suppose I did, didn't I?
I beg your pardon, sir?
Oh, nothing. Go on with what you were saying.
I was saying, Sir William, it reminded me of that time in the Whitechapel...
It's only 10 months, isn't it?
How could you love a man who is morally and intellectually a mile your inferior?
There's no way I can answer that, Bill. Anyway, it has nothing whatever to do with my feelings for you.
Your feelings for him seem to me to amount to no more than a plain and rather sordid infatuation, which for a woman in your position is, to say the least of it, a little undignified.
A little undignified. Thank you, Bill, for that nice judicial understatement. Do you think I'm not fully conscious of what you and all my friends, or rather your friends, think of me? And I suppose the whole damn dignified world.
Well, then, for heaven's sake, let him go. Have you no willpower at all?
Yes, Bill, I have.
Well, then.
More than most women, I think. It's stronger than my will, that's all.
Hester, in the whole of our 15 years, I doubt if I've ever said an angry word to you.
Oh, for
But
goodness sake, be angry, Bill. I'd much rather you were.
But you, of all people, I simply can't believe it. No, Hester, I am not going to let you do it. If you think... Yes?
2 minutes, Sir William. Shall I robe you?
No, thank you.
Very good, sir.
I'm sorry. There's nothing to be gained by losing tempers. I think we'd better put off the Hendersons tonight and dine quietly at home. We can discuss the whole situation calmly.
I told you, Bill, tonight I shall be in an aeroplane over the Atlantic.
That, of course, is quite out of the question. I'm sorry, but I'm due in court now. And the least you can do is to agree with me that this is a matter which will have to be most carefully and dispassionately weighed.
But I have waited, Bill. I've waited almost every hour of every day for the last 3 months.
Carefully and dispassionately?
As far as that was possible, yes.
And the conclusion you came to was that a half-hour's talk in a lunch break would be enough to end a marriage of 15 years?
Bill, I told you, only I don't think you've listened. I told you that...
2 o'clock, Sir William.
Yes, I'm ready. Look, my dear, if after 3 weeks or so you're still feeling the same way, you shall have my permission to go, I promise you. In the meantime, it's an old principle of English justice, isn't it, that a man is innocent until he's proved guilty. Hester, if as a husband I've let you down in some way...
You haven't, Bill, you haven't.
Well, plainly I must have. But at least you have to give me the chance to prove to you the innocence of my intent.
I'm sorry, Sir William.
Yes, I'm just coming. Would you mind telephoning the Hendersons? Think of some excuse. I'll come straight home after court.
Mr. Simmons, Mr. Blake, Mr. Farnham, court 3. Will you come this way, please?
Silence! Be upstanding in court.
Ladies and gentlemen, before the adjournment, I'd got to the point where I reminded you that the defense has at no time attempted to rebut the evidence of the prosecution that this woman was seen to steal these articles from the shop. The defense, therefore, rests solely on the question of the state of mind of the accused, on the question, as you might call it, of uncontrollable impulse. Now, you've heard medical evidence which claims that this woman is suffering from what is virtually a disease of the mind, kleptomania, as it is called. Now, as men and women of common sense, you will see how dangerous in law is this conception that crime may be excused by the plea of uncontrollable impulse. Right? Any criminal may make such an excuse. I don't know what came over me. I never meant to do it. Something happened that was stronger than my will. The law must guard itself against such pleas, and the law on this point is clear. Did this woman know what she was doing at the time she did it? If she did she know that it was wrong? Now, ladies and gentlemen, those are the 2 questions you will have to decide. And they're so important that I think I should repeat them. Did this woman know what she was doing at the time she did it? If she did...
Goodbye, Bill. I pray one day you'll understand.
Good morning, Sir William. Good morning, Sir William.
I'm sorry.
Good morning. Weather turned out nice again,
Hasn't it? Yes. I'll need you about 5. Check with Gibbs, will you?
Right, sir.
Oh, by the way, what was the name of the place we went to this morning?
Weybridge Road, sir. It's on the corner of Grigg Street.
Weybridge Road.
Thanks, Jackie boy. Wizard drive. Okay. If you'll only get that ignition fixed, you'll get 100 out of her. You will. You might have to Liz. See ya. Put your foot down, Jackie. Oh, Susanna, she's just... Morning, Mrs. Elton. How's everything? Morning, Mrs. Elton.
Good morning, Mr. Page.
Oh, Susanna, she's just the girl for me. Press! fixed. I've just done 93 mph down the Great West Road. Jaguar. Poor, smashing job. Jackie Jackson gave me a lift. We gave up the idea of the golf because it started to rain. It's pouring down at Sunningdale.
Did you have a good weekend?
Oh, not bad. I won both my matches. I took a fiver off Jackie, match and buy. Ha! He was livid. I wanted to double the stakes, but he wouldn't wear it.
How much did you win altogether?
£7 quid.
Can I have some of it for Mrs. Elton?
Oh, I thought you were going to sell that screen thing.
I've given it away.
Well, that was a ruddy silly thing to go and do, wasn't it?
Yes, I suppose it was.
Oh, heck, all right. You can have 3. I need the rest to pay off a bill at the club. Hey, Hess. Do you realize you haven't looked at me once since I came in?
Haven't I, Freddie?
Why is that?
I can remember what you look like.
Well, I haven't done anything, have I?
No, Freddie, you haven't done anything.
Well, you're not peeved about my staying down last night, are you? I mean, there wasn't any special reason why you wanted me back to dinner last night, was there? Oh! Hang it. Many happy returns.
Thank you, Freddie.
Oh, I remembered it on Saturday, too. Jackie Jackson and I were driving past Barker's. I thought it's too late to get her a present now. I should find the shop open on Sunday. Cigarettes or something. Oh, yes. Had you arranged anything special for dinner?
No, nothing special. Just a chicken and a bottle of claret.
Oh, we have it tonight.
Yes.
Oh, come on now, Hess. No more sulks, please. I've said I'm sorry. Can't say more, can I?
No, Freddie, you can't say more.
Hey, give us a shot of those gorgeous green orbs. I haven't seen them for 2 whole days. This is me, Freddie Page. Remember?
Yes, I remember. Oh, Freddie.
Come on, oh, snap out of it. I'm here, aren't I? Hey, yes, what's the matter? Silly to sulk with your Freddie.
Braithwaite Limited, Pimlico branch. Yes, Mr. Ricky, yes. Mabel's Joy is listed as a likely runner for 2:30. Right. Yes, Miss Pickering. £5 each way, Mabel's Joy. 10 shillings mixed doubles favourite Nottingham. Right. Come in, it's open. Let's see. £17.10 invested. Excuse me. Oh, just a moment, Miss Maxwell. Hold on, Mr. Pickering. Braithwaite Limited, Pimlico branch. Oh, yes, Mr. Braithwaite. Just a moment, I have a client on the other line. Yes, Mr. Pickering. £1 to win Rolling Stone. £18.10 invested. Right, thank you. And sorry, Mr. Braithwaite. I'll investigate. Thank you, Mr. Braithwaite. Miss Maxwell, I'm sorry, I'm rather busy.
What's this?
The frontal view of a human brain.
What's the human brain got to do with horse racing?
Very little, in my opinion. What did you want to see me about?
Manic depressive disease? You've got a queer kind of a hobby for a bookmaker, I must say.
You're amazed how useful it can be sometimes. What can I do for you?
Well, it's just that... Well, I came to tell you that Mr. Page is back.
Yes?
And I thought you'd be interested, that's all.
Why?
Well, he's bound to suspect there's something wrong, and there might be the most terrible trouble. I thought...
Braithwaite Limited, Pimlico branch. Oh, yes, Miss Brown. Yes. 10 shillings each way, Angler. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'll hold on. Look, Miss Maxwell, if you come up here for my advice, I suggest it would be better for you not to interfere in other people's troubles. Or if it comes to that, other people's business. Good day, Miss Maxwell. Yes, Miss Brown. £1 to win Ecuador, all right. Is that all? £2 invested? Right, Mr. Brown.
I'm so sorry, I didn't know you were back. I was just wondering whether Mrs. Page would like to read this week's Picture Post.
Who's that, Freddie?
It's Miss Maxwell. She's bought you a copy of...
Picture Post. How are you feeling now? Better?
Much better, thank you.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Well, I won't keep you. I'm sorry to intrude. It's quite by accident. I'm sorry.
What's all this about you feeling better?
Oh, I just had a bit of a headache this morning and she lent me some aspirin.
Oh, bad luck. I thought you looked a bit off color. Hey, Hess, how's about some of that chicken you cooked last night? I'm feeling a bit hungry.
In the larder.
Wizzo.
Darling.
Yeah.
It's today Monday.
Yes, what?
What about that man from the American Aircraft Company about that job for you?
Gosh, yes. Lunch at the Ritz, wasn't it?
Freddie, would you mind awfully going by yourself?
What? Solo? Me? Not on your life. I'm not going on this off by myself.
Well, it's only that I don't really...
Now, listen, Hess. It's wing to wing or nothing.
All right, then.
wing to wing.
Now, hurry up, old girl. I'll tell you what, we'll have a quick one on the way down to celebrate. Hess, still love me?
I still love you.
And darling, look your best, won't you?
I'll try.
And Hess, do me a favor, will you? Don't shoot another of your lines about me to this bloke. You know, that Battle of Britain stuff, all that old ex-Spitfire bull. Promise? Hess, do you hear me?
Yes, I heard you.
Hey, I'm out of cigarettes. You got any?
Dressing gown pocket.
Where?
Dressing gown pocket hanging on the door.
Ah. Ta-da-dum, bum, ta-dee-dum, ta-dum. Ta-dee-dum.
You got them?
What? Yes, I got them.
Betty, don't you think you ought to wear a clean shirt? There's one in the top drawer. I said there was a clean shirt in the top drawer. I washed it out last night. Ready?
Good morning, Mr. Page.
Dicer, whiskey, double.
What's your Freddie? You're taking off early this Monday.
How did I get into this?
Come again, old boy. I didn't quite catch it.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. I thought you did.
Oh, for Pete's sake, what are you doing?
Well, that's how you usually like it.
Well, it's not how I like it today. Put another one in there.
Well, they're your ulcers, old boy, not mine.
Dicer, give Jackie Jackson a buzz and ask him to come over right away, will you?
It's almost lunchtime, old boy. He's a family man.
Well, tell him I must see him. It's important.
All right. Peter, pop down in the cellar and bring up some more sodas.
How the heck did I get into this?
Orange juice as usual, Mr. Page. And what for you, Sir William?
Gin and tonic, if I may. A small one.
Right. Mickey, small gin and tonic for Sir William. Make mine a tomato juice.
Very good, sir.
Out before sundown's not too good for the old nerve and judgment.
Are you flying this afternoon?
Yeah, the weather's okay. I'm testing one of those vertical takeoff jobs. You know, leave your tummy on the ground, close your eyes till you hit Venus. Not my form at all.
I don't often bring this up, but I was in the RF too, you know.
Huh?
Unfortunately, they put me in the Judge Advocate's department. Oh, here's my wife. The worst driver in Christendom. I must say it's quite hard to keep up with the progress in aviation since my day.
Progress? I'll swap you a supersonic jet for a ropey old gladiator anytime.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, darling.
Hello, darling.
What on earth did they put that idiotic post in the middle of the drive for? It's just scraped my wing.
That idiotic post happens to say, please drive very slowly.
Does it? I didn't see what it said. Anyway, it doesn't say any longer, I'm afraid.
Ah, well, this is Mr. Page, who very kindly gave me a game. I wish I could say I'd given him one.
Sherry, my lady?
No, thank you, Mickey. Hurry up, darling, or we'll be late for the Marstons.
Oh, let me see, how much do I owe you?
I think we said a couple, didn't we, sir?
Yes, and the buy makes 3.
You'll be needing my husband in bad ways, Mr. Page.
Morning, all.
Monte.
Gin, Mickey.
Yes, sir?
I had a wizard run of luck, Lady Collier.
Don't you believe it? Your husband has just been taken with the sharpest operator in the club.
Next time, half a crown, not a penny more, please. Come on, darling. Goodbye.
Goodbye, and thank you again.
Goodbye, sir.
Quite a look at that, don't you think, Freddie?
Not bad, I suppose.
For a judge's wife, I mean.
Not interested, old boy. You know me. Little Freddie always steers clear of the married ones. Press on.
The crack you heard, ladies and gentlemen, was of course the breaking of the sound barrier. The pilot is Mr. Clark. This next aircraft you are watching is the Hawker Hunter,
Look, darling, there's another.
a transonic swept-wing single-seat day fighter which temporarily held the airspeed record at 727 miles an hour. At high altitudes, the Hunter, with its Rolls-Royce Avon jet engine, is a highly maneuverable aircraft. Now, ladies and gentlemen, up above you, you can see a strange white aircraft which is the latest Avro Vulcan Delta wing bomber. Notice the absence of tailplane, flaps, slots, and other high-lift devices. The next aircraft now approaching from your right is the Jet Provost. It's built in this country by Hunting Percival and has an Armstrong Siddeley Viper jet engine. It's flown today by Mr. Page.
Oh, this is Page, Freddie Page, remember?
It's being developed so that pilots can start to fly without knowing what a propeller is.
That's Freddie, isn't it?
Yes, that's Page, all right. Up to his tricks again. And as you can see, it's highly aerobatic.
flying part of today's program is now over. This is your opportunity to inspect the parked aircraft, which are arranged on the eastern end of the runway.
Hey, Paige. Hi, Johnny. I want a word with you. Anything with you, chap.
What the heck do you think you were doing just now? You saw standing orders, didn't you? Can't you read?
Steady on, old boy. It was only a harmless little beat-up.
Ruddy harmless it would have been, wouldn't it, if the engines had cut? Betty, for Pete's sake, how often have you got to be told? This is 1940. Victory roads and all that malarkey. I know you aren't in uniform anymore, old boy, but don't forget there are plenty more like you. Good pilots aren't so hard to find these days.
Hello.
Hello?
Well, this is a surprise, I must say. Heard all that? You see, no expense spared to entertain our distinguished guest.
If I may say so, Mr.
Hey.
Of course, how silly. I was entirely on your side.
Were you? Oh, I don't know. There is something in what he says, I suppose.
I've no doubt there's a great deal. I meant I was on your side because you were so obviously in the wrong.
Come again? I don't quite get that.
Only because when he was talking to you, you seemed to drop about 20 years and become a naughty schoolboy caught stealing jam.
Excuse me, Lady Collier. We were just looking for you.
Well, thank you. I'm just coming. Goodbye. And don't take it too seriously.
This is the first time I've been to one of these hops. Freddie says they have them every year. Have you been before?
Yes, but not from choice, I'm afraid. I'm of the committee.
Oh, are you an expert for yourself?
And in a very remote sort of way.
A great success, isn't it, Sir William?
Yes, looks like it.
We've made £300 more than last year.
Really?
I think the RAF should strike us a special medal, don't
I think so, yes.
What's the matter, Mr. Page? Anything wrong?
I was simply thinking, Lady Collier, that you have the loveliest eyes I've ever seen on any mortal human being.
Good gracious. I had no idea that our test pilot studied the female Victorian novelist so closely.
I didn't get that out of a book.
You mean you made it up yourself? How very clever of you. How often have you had occasion to use it?
Well, the important thing is that this time I really mean it.
Oh, that's very important. Tell me, you seen any good plays lately?
Hello, Hester. Enjoying yourself?
Very much. What were we talking about? Oh, yes, plays.
I love your mouth.
Mr. Page, I can't breathe. Would you mind awfully? Please don't. I think I was going to rescue my poor husband. Thank you so much.
I saw you giving her the old routine all right. That would work with her ladyship, Freddie, my pet. As a matter of fact, it doesn't work anymore with me.
Let's dance. Chasing a jet. Well, you might say hello at least.
When did you get here?
Morning. A couple of chaps asked me to make up a party. I didn't even know where we were coming to until I got on the aircraft. I've forgotten all about you being here. They told me at the hotel. Well, what's the matter? Don't you like my outfit? I think it's beautiful.
Quite beautiful. Well, come on.
Anatole's fallen asleep on his balcony. Over the Times crossword, as usual.
Oh, it's ridiculous. He'd love skiing if only he'd give it a try once.
That's just what he says about me and golf.
Coming?
In a minute. Pitiful and sound.
Jag kan komma så far.
How long holiday have you got, Mr. Page?
Till doomsday. Present.
You must have very generous employers.
I have. So generous they've gone and fired me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not. Flying's not what it was anymore. We're all a lot of ruddy boffins nowadays.
Boffins?
Scientists. 940, 41, it was different.
How old were you in 1940?
18? Oh, I know what you're thinking. The world's grown up since then and I haven't. Well, maybe that's true. But I ask you, who wants to grow up in the world as it is? Now, if there's one man in this world I envy, it's your husband.
Why, you don't want to be a judge, do you?
Well, why not? At least he does know where he's going. Still, looking at you now, I wonder if it's only his job I envy him for.
Now, Mr.
No,
Page.
I mean that's not just a line. I really think you're the most attractive girl I've ever met in my life. Hey, where are you?
I'm here. Go on about yourself.
That's all there is. Just a poor little lamb who's lost his way, that's me. Now, here's a funny thing. Do you realize you're looking at me for the first time as if I was a human being? Some bloody miracle must have happened.
Miracle? Oh, I don't think so.
840 bitte.
Ah, Fräulein. You take pound notes, I feel certain.
Die Bedienung dabei? Ja, die Bedienung ist dabei.
Dankeschön.
You shouldn't have done that. I may be broke, but not as broke as all that.
Don't be silly.
You know something? Here I am out of a job with nothing in sight, yet I've seldom felt happier in my whole life.
Why?
So I tell you why? Because by a wizard stroke of luck, I've met you again.
Ganz ja etwas mit Musik?
You take pound notes, I'm sure.
Dankeschön, merci. Quite a run.
May I introduce Mr. and Mrs. Bronson, Mr. Chalmers, Lady Collier?
How do you do? Gosh, Betty, this is the place, all right.
Hey, we're all blessing you for making us come here.
Practically at the point of a gun, let me tell you.
Come on, we better hurry. We've only 3 minutes to make the ski lift.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. See you later.
Wizard stroke of luck?
Well, heck, you asked me to.
I asked you to. What on earth are you talking
But
about?
you did. Right in the middle of the dining room at Sunningdale, and with witnesses to prove it. You said Bill and I are going to Cloisters. Why didn't you come too?
But I would have said that to anyone that wasn't
You
serious.
said it to me.
Oh, Freddie,
Well, now, thank you
What for?
for calling me Freddie.
Look, if you want another run with your friends, you better hurry up.
Hey, you're not scared of little me, are you? All right, I'm sorry I shouldn't have come. Still, as we are here, we might as well make the most of it. What about another run? Just one more, please.
Oh, do take off that ridiculous hat.
That better?
Not much, but come on or we miss the lift.
Now, you can't blame me for that, can you? I'm in love with you, Hester. I really am.
Please, I wish you wouldn't.
Hello, Hester. I've just seen Bill at the ring. He said to tell you he's got that sleeper on the train, all right.
Oh, thank you.
Sleeper when?
Tonight.
Well, you're not going, are you?
I don't know.
Das Gepäck ist in Ordnung. 4 Stücke, meine Herren. That's right. Danke sehr. Ich habe den Platz jetzt hier reserviert. Ich sag's dem Kondukteur.
Thank you, Dankeschön. I hope he hasn't broken that bottle of Kirsch I brought. Well, goodbye, Paige. See you in Sunningdale.
Yes, sir, goodbye.
Alles in Ordnung, gute Reise.
Dankeschön. Goodbye, darling.
Goodbye, darling. I wish I were coming with you.
Oh, come. Who wants to spend New Year's Eve in a train? Heaven knows, I wouldn't be doing it unless I had to. Well, take care of yourself.
Einsteigen, bitte. Alles einsteigen.
It's only 5 days, darling. I'm not going to the Amazon, you know. It's those 2 cocktails. Oh, I nearly forgot. Happy New Year. And to you, Paige.
Thank you, sir.
Happy New Year, Bill.
Bitte, mein
Oh,
Herr.
I'm sorry.
I'll meet you in on Tuesday.
Goodbye, darling.
trail, my poor love? Did he leave you outside? Freddie, you are beastly to vapor trail. I'm sure he's been asking to come in for hours. I wouldn't have given him to you. I thought you were going to be so cruel.
Well, he's got such a sissy mew, I can't hear it. I thought our date was for 6.
It was. I'm afraid I can't keep it.
Why?
Oh, we have to go to the theater with some legal friends.
Big shots?
No, not particularly. But I just had to see you. Freddie, what's happening?
Well, I was going to call you Hess, but it might have been a bit awkward. Anyway, I would have told you later.
Where are you going?
Well, it's not for long, Hess.
Where, Freddie?
Well, it's Canada.
Canada when?
9:30 tonight, Heathrow. It's only a temporary job, Hess. Jackie Jackson, he's that Canadian test pilot you met the other night. Remember? Works over here now. Well, he got it for me. It's only about 10 weeks or so.
Only 10 weeks.
Well, not much more anyhow. It's a new version of a kite I used to fly at Lindbrooks. And it's got to be tested over there because it's a rush job and the weather over here is pretty ropey at this time of the year. It's one of those new Delta Wing jobs, low-level testing, which means you have to have a fairly high ceiling.
Freddie.
Yes?
Freddie, there's something we have to face. I suppose we really should have faced it months ago. But it seems quite clear to me now that we've got a choice. And it's really up to you to make it.
Yes?
If you fly to Canada tonight without me, we won't see each other again.
But, darling, we'll only be apart for...
I know, 10 weeks.
Well, 10 weeks.
But you see, Freddie, it's a funny thing. I believe I could just stand our being apart for the rest of our lives, but 10 weeks or 8 or 6, it's too much. Do you understand?
No, Hess, frankly, I don't.
Well, it's as simple as this. I can't go on living this sort of life any longer. Do you understand that?
Yes, I suppose so. Still, it's a heck of a big decision. Have you really and honestly thought what you'd be taking on, Hess? I mean, you know the sort of chap I am.
Yes, Freddie, I know the sort of chap you are.
Not really your form at all. Lord Chief Justices, ambassadors, air marshals, that's your form. What the heck do you really see in me, Hess? I've often wondered.
Well, maybe if you'd known me all my life through my childhood and my upbringing as a clergyman's daughter, Aunt Bill and tea with the Lord Chief Justice. Yes, Freddie, I know what I'm taking on. But do you?
Hello. Yes? Hello, Jackie. Yes, all set. No, only 2 cases. Yes, that'll be fine, thanks. Jackie, what chance of getting another reservation on that aircraft tonight? What? Yes. British passport. Name? Hester Collier. Yes, Collier. Look here, boy. Right? Down. Gosh, I hope we're doing right.
So do I.
The 5th, though, boy. No, I'm not worrying about your ulcers. I'm worrying about your bill.
Hi, Dicer.
Oh, you...
Say, what's so darn important I gotta be pulled here all the way from Putney so you can tell me about it?
Important? No, it's not important. It's only that Hess tried to kill herself last night, that's all.
Kill herself? Are you sure?
Well, of course I'm sure. I wouldn't be telling you, would I? See this letter? Besides, I got all the gin out of Omar Elton. Well, don't you want to know why she did it?
Why?
She did it, old boy, because I forgot her birthday.
For Pete's sake. Do you really think she was on the level? And simply because of you forgetting her birthday? Well, where is she now?
I don't know. She was getting dressed when I ran out on her.
You ran out on her?
What do you expect me to do? Go into her and fall down on my knees and say, my darling, I've grievously sinned in forgetting your birthday. If I promise I'll never do it again, will you promise me you'll never try and gas yourself again? I mean, the whole thing's too darn idiotic. Dicer, 2 more. Aren't women the end? Dicer!
Right, old boy, don't get steamed up.
With or without?
Without. Oh, there must be something else.
Well, there isn't anything else.
Another girl?
There never has been.
You had any rows lately?
No more than average?
What were they about?
Oh, the usual things. Damn it, Jackie, you know me. I can't be a ruddy Romeo all the time.
Oh, who can?
Well, according to Hess, I should be. Dicer, encore.
Right. What does she know about it?
Nothing. Clergyman's daughter living in Oxford. Marries the first man who asks her and falls in love with the first man who gives her an eye.
Freddie.
What's the matter? Am I talking too loud?
We're going to sit in that table over
Huh? Where's that bottle? Oh, it's not that I'm not in love with her, too. Of course I am. Always have been. Always will, I guess, but, well, moderation in all things. That's always been my motto. Have another.
No, I got some.
It's all so unfair. Supposing she pulled it off last night. Do you realize what the coroner would probably have done? He'd have brought in a writer to tell the world that I'd bust up a happy marriage and then driven Hess to suicide. How I hate getting tangled up in other people's emotions. It's the one thing I've tried to avoid all my life, yet it always seems to be happening to me, always.
A sort of arme fatale, eh?
It's not so funny, you know, Jackie. It's not so funny. I don't enjoy causing other people misery. I'm not a ruddy sadist. My sort never gets a hearing. But look at it this way. Take two people, A and B. A loves B more than B loves A. Well, now, that's not B's fault, is it? He does his best, heaven knows, but his best isn't good enough, apparently. Now, B hasn't asked to be loved that way, old boy. He may be a perfectly ordinary bloke. Kind, well-meaning, good friend. He might even make good husband if he's allowed to, but he's not allowed to be, that's my point. Demands are made upon him which he just can't fulfill. If he tries, he's cheating. Cheating never helped anyone. If he's honest and doesn't try, well, then everyone says he's a skunk and a heartless cad, and coroners bring in ruddy riders. I mean, where are you? Have another.
No. Do you think you should?
Why not? Am I drunk?
Well, I'd say you've been at it some this morning.
I shall be at it for the rest of the day, too. I shall be at it until I've forgotten that this ever existed.
Well, doesn't that give you any clue?
Well, read it and see.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, a thing like that's a bit private, isn't it?
Blasted private it would have been, read out in court by the coroner, wouldn't it?
Well, there is that, I guess.
There is that, you guess. All right, I'm the coroner, you're the public. Now listen. My darling, a moment ago, before I took the sleeping pills, I knew exactly what I wanted to say to you. I have run through this letter in my
look,
mind.
Freddie, no one has as I do. I don't want to hear the rest. Do you mind?
I do mind. I've got to read this letter to someone, and you're my best friend, aren't you? Or aren't you?
Sure.
Well, then listen, blast you. But now, all I can think of is that in the morning, when you read this letter, any feelings you ever had for me will be driven out of your heart forever. Poor Freddie. Poor darling Freddie. I'm so sorry. Sorry? All right, here's your clue. You'll want to know why. And I'd so much like to make you understand. Because if you understood, you might forgive. But to understand what I'm doing, you must feel even a small part of what I'm feeling. And that I know you can never do. You can't help being as you are. I can't help being as I am. The fault lies with whichever of the gods had a good laugh up above by arranging for the two of us to meet. Forgive my bad writing. I think perhaps the drug...
Hello, Jackie.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well.
Hello there, Hess. How's things?
Fine, thank you, George. Can I have that letter, Freddie?
Why?
Because it belongs to me.
Might be two views about that. It's got my name on the envelope.
An undelivered letter, I should say, belongs to the sender. Please. Thank you.
Well, I guess I'd better be getting along. Liz will...
Oh, don't be a clot. Have another drink.
You've forgotten our lunch, Freddie.
Huh?
With Mr. Jansen.
What, Jansen of American Consolidated? What a chance of a job.
Well, they want pilots for their new testing grounds in Alaska.
Oh, gosh, I suppose you don't want to go to Alaska, do you?
I don't want to go anywhere as a test pilot.
There's no question if you're going anywhere as a test pilot, Freddie.
Why not? They say he's the tops.
I was a year ago. Since then, things have changed a bit. This stuff isn't exactly what the doctor ordered for nerve or judgment.
Oh, don't talk nonsense, Freddie. It's just that he's given me his word, that's all. By hoping that Jansen might find him a job that's...
Chairborne, not airborne. That's me from now on. Cheers.
Well, I better be on my way.
Give my love to Liz.
Better not give her my love, Jackie. From all accounts, it's pretty lethal.
Well, cheerio, everybody.
I brought you a tie, Freddie.
Why?
See you,
I think
Dyson.
you better wear one for lunch. And here's a handkerchief up there.
Thinks of everything, doesn't she?
Morning, Hess.
Morning, Dyson.
Hey, Dicer.
Please, Freddie, we're late. Well, are we going or not?
Well, I don't know where you're going, but I'm going home. Chalk it up, chum.
Port engine a bit ropey, Hess. Flying one wing low.
Could get me the Ritz on the telephone, please, Dyson.
Sure.
Ask Mr. Jansen, would you?
Certainly.
You're Mr. Miller, aren't you?
Yes?
Got a moment? I'd like a word with you. Care for a drink?
Thanks.
You looked after my wife this morning, didn't you?
Yes, I looked after Mrs. Page.
I'd like to know just how much she said to you.
She said nothing.
Nothing about why she did it?
Nothing.
Do you know why she did it?
No.
If you like, I'll tell you. She did it because I forgot her birthday.
Oh, yes?
Don't seem surprised?
I'm not. I assumed it was something of the kind.
Something so trivial?
Nothing can be called trivial that induces an operative desire to die.
But forgetting her birthday?
Yes, that is trivial.
Bit of a riddler, aren't you, old boy? All right, then it's trivial. But what's the real reason? What's behind it?
I don't think you need me to tell you that.
I'd like to hear it anyway.
Yourself, I should suppose.
Which just about makes me a ruddy murderer.
A ruddy near murderer?
All right, my friend. What would you do about it if you were me?
That's a stupid question. Nature has not endowed me with the capacity for inspiring suicidal love.
Aren't you lucky?
Yes, I suppose I am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miller.
Good afternoon.
Freddie, I rang Mr. Jansen about the lunch. He was awfully nice about it. He expects you to ring him tomorrow. Where are you going?
Bed. Any objections?
No, good idea.
Hey, what are you doing?
Just tidying up.
Well, it's my bottle. I paid for it. No! Little Freddie Weddy doesn't need a nanny this afternoon. Does he, Mr. Miller? You know something? Anyone else would have punched you on the nose for what you said to me a moment ago. Not me, though. I'm a civilized type. Dinner usual time, I take it? Oh. I nearly forgot. Can you lend me a shilling? It's in case I'm late for dinner. Just tidying up.
I apologize, Mr. Miller.
No need to. A most normal reaction.
What was it that you said to him?
Nothing important. It was just that I became for a moment the embodiment of his conscience.
His conscience? You appear to have found something in him that I've missed.
They say the eyes of love are blind.
They say that about the loved one's failings, not about his virtues. And my eyes aren't blind. They see quite well.
I know they can. Too well. To love with one's eyes open sometimes makes life very difficult.
Even unbearable.
I said difficult.
Does it matter so much to you which it is?
Does matter to me very much.
Until this moment, I've admired your scientific detachment. Let's hope now it's not going to be clouded by sentimentality.
Shall we say sentiment? A little dose of that has never hurt as long as it's honest. Besides, I'm not a scientist.
You look quite different without those things. Why do you wear them?
To protect my eyes against the light.
Or perhaps against other people's eyes? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to probe.
How do you know there's anything to probe?
Interest, I suppose. Or perhaps a fellow feeling for someone else in trouble.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not in trouble.
I wasn't speaking of the present.
The past is dead, and the facts I'm sure you'll find unworthy of your curiosity.
Like you, Mr. Miller, I'm more interested in people than in facts. Thank you, Doctor.
Goodbye.
Afternoon, Mr. Miller. Like to come in for a moment, Mrs. Page? I've got some lovely new records Mr. Higgins sent me.
Not just at the moment, thank you.
Mrs. Page? Mrs. Page?
Yes, Mrs. Elton.
When I was doing the room this afternoon, Sir William phoned.
Heavens, I completely forgot.
He said his case was going to finish much earlier, and could you possibly meet him at 3:30?
3:30. It's nearly that now.
Who's there?
It's only Mrs. Elton, Freddie. Thank you, Mrs. Elton. I'll see to that. Freddie? Freddie, I have to go out. Do you mind? I'll be out for about an hour, Freddie.
Jury for Code 5?
Yes. Right.
Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Hill? Constable Webb.
Looking for anyone?
Yes, Sir William Collier.
Oh, yes, miss. He was here a moment ago, I know. Ah, here he is.
I'd almost given up hope. Thank you for coming.
I'm so sorry. Fred is back.
Oh.
He's asleep at the moment.
I see. Oh, Bill, I'm having a few people in for bridge on Thursday night, and I want... Hello, Hester.
Hello, Frank.
This is quite a surprise, I must say. Well, you're looking wonderful as usual, isn't she? I didn't mean to disturb you. I'll telephone you, Bill. Thank you.
Forgive me, Bill, but would you mind if we had our tea another time?
Does another 10 minutes make so much difference?
No.
We'll go this way. It's fantastic to think it was caused by my decision to take that house on the golf course.
You mustn't distress yourself with that kind of thought, Bill. Freddie and I would have met anyway.
Do you believe in affinities?
I believe it was fated that Freddie and I should meet.
Because it's turned out a pretty evil fate.
I suppose if there are good affinities, there must be evil ones, too. Well, this is far enough, Bill. Can I get out here?
Dr. Flitton, pull up on the right, will you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Flitton.
It's a pleasure, ma'am.
Wait here for me.
Thank you so much, Bill. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Hester. Please remember that it's never too late. He's sitting on the doorstep of your house. No, don't turn round. He may not have seen you.
Please go, Bill.
He has seen you, I'm afraid.
Oh, Bill, please go.
No, I'm coming with you.
Got to do number 4.
Richard, Celia, come in at once now. The tea's on the table.
All right, Mummy. Bye, darling.
I thought it might be you she'd gone to see.
What are you doing here, Freddie?
I heard there was a big black rose here this morning. I was interested. Do you mind?
Bill came to see me because somebody telephoned him about what had happened.
Oh, I see. Did you ever forget her birthday?
No.
No, I shouldn't think you were a forgetful type. You still a judge?
Yes.
Still got pots of money?
Certain amount.
Still love Hess?
Bill, don't listen to him. He's drunk. Freddie, go up to the flat. I'll join you in a minute.
See how I'm bullied? I bet you were never bullied like that.
Oh, Freddie, please try and behave yourself.
Am I behaving badly? I'm only asking the judge here a simple question. I'd rather like to know the answer. Still, I suppose it doesn't really matter.
So sorry, Bill.
Oh, never mind. Good afternoon, Mrs. Page.
Good afternoon.
You heard his last question to me. He asked me if I still loved you. Well, the answer is yes.
Please.
I just thought it important you should know. I realize perfectly that it doesn't help now, but it may one day.
Freddie? Freddie, let me in. Oh, Freddie, don't be so childish. Let me in. You're looking very smart, Freddie. You going out somewhere?
Yes?
Where?
To see Jansen about a job.
Oh, he rang, did he?
No, I rang him.
And you really think there's the chance of a job?
Yes, I think so.
Well, it's very good news, isn't it, Freddie? Oh, I was going to give those a clean.
Well, I'll do it.
No, let me. Somehow you always manage to get shoe polish all over your face. Lord knows how. You didn't have much of a sleep, did you?
No, I had a cold bath, 4 cups of coffee, and a bit of a walk.
What kind of job do you think they might give you?
Test pilot?
Test pilot? But you said 100 times you'd never go back to that after that crash in Canada. You said you had no nerve or judgment left.
Well, I had too many drinks that time in Canada, you know that. Couple of months on the wagon, I'll be the old ace again. The old dicer with death.
Don't use that idiotic RAF slang, Freddie. Do you mind? This is too important.
Huh? Yes, it is important.
When do we leave?
We don't.
We don't?
You and I don't, Hess. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm going alone.
Why, Freddie?
Well, if I'm to remain on the wagon, I've got to be alone.
Have you?
Oh, heck. That isn't the real reason. Now, listen, Hess. You've always said, haven't you, That I don't really love you. Well, I suppose in your sense I don't. But what I do feel for you is something a great deal deeper than I've ever felt before in my life, or ever will feel, I should think. That's why I went away with you in the first place. That's why I've stayed with you all this time. And that's why I must go away from you now.
It sounds rather like a prepared speech, Freddie.
I suppose it is a bit prepared. I worked it out on my walk. But it's still true, Hess. I'm too fond of you to let things slide. That letter was a heck of a shock. It's asking too damn much of any bloke to go on as if nothing had happened when he knows for a fact that he's driving the only girl he ever loved to suicide.
Do you think you're leaving me to drive me away from suicide?
That's a risk I shall have to take, isn't it? It's a risk both of us will have to face.
You mustn't scare me like this, Freddie.
No scare, Hess. This is on the level.
You know perfectly well you'll feel quite different in the morning.
No, I won't, Hess. Not this time. Besides, I don't think I'll be here in the morning.
Where will you be?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd better get out tonight.
No, Freddie, no.
Well, it's better that way, Hess. I'm scared of your arguing. I know this is right, you see. I know it. But with your gift to the gab, you'll muddle things up for me again and I'll be lost.
I won't. I won't, Freddie. I promise I won't. But you must stay tonight. Just tonight.
No, I'm sorry, Hess.
Just tonight, Freddie. Only tonight.
Hess, this is our last chance. We're death to each other, you and I.
It's not true.
It is true, darling, and you've known it longer than I have.
I haven't finished
Well, they're all right. Oh, I'm sorry, Hess. Oh, I'm sorry. Please don't cry. You don't know what it does to me. I've got to get out of here.
No, not this minute, Freddie. Not just this minute. You've got all your things here.
I'll send for them.
But you promised you'll be in for dinner. You can't.
I know, I'm
promise
sorry
like
about
that.
that.
I swear I won't argue. Don't leave me alone, Freddie. Don't leave me alone tonight. Not tonight, Freddie. Not tonight. Come back, Freddie. Don't go, Freddie. Oh, don't go, Freddie. Freddie, don't leave me alone tonight.
Evening, Mr. Miller.
Good evening.
Mrs. Elton was looking for you. She's just gone upstairs.
Thank
I
you.
never heard anything like it. It was terrible. I can't think what he must have been saying to her.
Are you sure he's really left her?
Left her? He's gone for good. That must be Flo. Hello? Yes, I know, dear, but something happened. Good evening, Mr. Miller.
Good evening.
In at the hospital again? I think it's fine.
What's fine?
You're doing all that work for nothing. Tell me, Mr. Miller, isn't there any chance of your ever getting to be a doctor again?
No.
But what you did wasn't as bad as all that.
What I did was enough to send me to jail for a year, Mrs. Elton. Will you excuse me? Good night.
Good night. Oh, I nearly forgot. Mrs. Page said to ask you if you could give her something to make her sleep.
She had something to make her sleep last night, hadn't she?
Oh, I don't think there's any danger.
Don't you?
No, not now he's left her. Miss Maxwell and I both think that his leaving her for good is the best thing that could ever happen. Don't you agree, Doctor?
It isn't as simple as that, Mrs. Elton. In this case, I'd say what happens isn't nearly as important as the way it happens.
Well, I know what goes on inside people's heads is your speciality. But do you really think she needs him that much?
She doesn't need him. What she really needs is the knowledge of his need for her. Do you understand that, Mrs. Elton?
No, I can't say I do.
I was afraid you wouldn't. Anyway, you're right about something to make her sleep. I'll go and see her in a few minutes.
Yes, Doctor.
Hello? Oh. No, he's not in yet, I'm afraid. Yes, quite soon, I expect. It's about golf? Yes, I'll tell him. I'll get him to ring you. It's quite all right. Good night. Hello? Hello, Dicer. It's Hester. Has he come in yet? Yes, I know you did. I just thought you might have forgotten or something. It's so late and... Oh, is that all it is? I thought it was later. Just a minute, please. Yes, please, Dicer. Ring me the moment he comes in. Or if you hear anything, will you? Thank you very much. Oh, good evening.
I brought you these.
Thank you, Doctor. I didn't expect that you'd...
What?
That you'd trust me.
They're quite mild. You can take 2. I hope I didn't disturb you.
Doctor, forgive me. But you see, you're the only person I feel who can tell me honestly what I should...
Tell you honestly what?
What I should do.
Don't use that thing again tonight. Don't answer it either. Take my pills and go to sleep. In the morning, go on living. Good night, Mrs. Page. If I may, I'd like to see you tomorrow.
Of course. Hello? Hello, Dicer, did you ring? Yes, I was in the other room. Who's there? Who's he with? Jackie. No, keep him there as long as you possibly can. I'll be straight round.
Mrs. Elton! Mrs. Elton! The water's still running cold.
All right, Mrs. Abrahams.
Spitfire Club, please. Covent Garden.
Hey, guys, you got that passport? Where did you leave it? What did he say last time?
Case me check, Dice.
How much for?
5.
Don't you have 3?
Wait, Dice.
All right, boy. Break it up with Spitfire Club Limited.
James one tonic, Dice.
Boy, 2 cans, 1 tonic.
Glasses. Dicer.
Lofty. Yeah. Get me in some empties, will you?
Dicer, is he still here?
No, I'm sorry, Hess. He saw me on the phone. I think he must have guessed. He dashed out of here. I couldn't stop him.
Oh, is he very drunk?
Well, not too bad considering.
Do you know where they went?
Well, Jackie said something about some new club in Shaftesbury Avenue.
Do you remember the name?
A Satellite, I think, yes. But they won't be there very long. It's not their form at all.
Are you expecting someone?
I was looking for my husband.
Oh, what would be his name?
Page.
Page? Oh, no, I didn't. It's Mr. Page here. Now, let's see.
Yes, there's his signature.
Oh, yes, of course. Somehow I didn't quite connect. I'm afraid they only stayed about 5 minutes.
Oh.
They didn't seem to like the place very much.
Do you know where they went?
Haven't the vaguest idea, I'm afraid. Rennie. The 2 gentlemen that left just a moment ago, remember?
Yes, sir.
Do you know where they went?
Yes, madam. Happy to oblige, I'm sure. Now, let me think. It was somewhere off Greek Street.
Thank you.
The second or third turning to your left. I'm afraid I don't remember the name of the place, but...
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, madam. Delighted, I'm sure.
Well, miss, have your 2 gents turned up yet?
No, I'm afraid not.
You can try across the road. A taxi pulled up there a while ago.
Oh, thank you very much. Have a Mr. Page and a Mr. Jackson.
No, miss, there's only 3 people inside and I know them all. We don't really get started till after the pubs close.
Oh, pardon me, I gather you've been stood up. It's a frightfully odd coincidence, but exactly the same thing's happened to me. Don't be too hasty, perhaps I can help you.
Have two gentlemen gone in the last half hour? One of them's dressed...
Last half hour, lady. You couldn't get a cat in there for the past 2 hours. You want to make a reservation, you should ring up at... Nothing much down there, lady.
No, Jackie, no, for Pete's sake. Where's this angel place you're always talking about? Oh, just up this way.
Looking for somebody?
Yes, I am.
Don't play dumb, baby. Take a tip. If you're going to do any hanging around, go and do it somewhere else.
In a minute, dear. I can't be everywhere at once.
I'm so sorry, but it really is very... I wonder... Excuse me, can you tell me...
Oh, no, I never fancy seeing you here.
I'm looking for Mr. Page. Have you seen him?
Oh, no, you don't mean to tell me after all he's done to you. You mean to say you're...
Yes, have you seen him?
No, not tonight, but it's easy enough to find. Here, have this. It's Flo's, but she won't mind. Gladys, another double scotch, please. Oh, and Gladys, have you seen Freddie Page in here tonight? Well, you know him, don't you?
No, dear, can't say I do. I'm not good with their names anyway. Steve will know. I'll ask him. Page was the name?
Yes, and Mr. Jackson.
All right, yeah.
Well, how anybody can get themselves worked up into this sort of tizzy about just love, well, I simply don't understand.
I suppose it is difficult.
Steve's just coming, dear.
Difficult? It's all in your imagination, dear. After all, when everything's said and done, what is it all? A man and a woman. Bit of give and take, a little bit of lovey-dovey's, and one or two other things, but nothing worth losing a moment's sleep over. Oh, Flo! Come over here a minute. I want you to meet a friend of mine. Now, take Mr. Higgins, for example. If ever he gets a bit tricky, there's always Mr. Watson. That's always been my motto. My dear, the sea's simply chock-a-block full of fish.
Dennis, which was the party asking about Freddie Page?
Yes, is he here?
Well, he was in, but I saw him go out just a little while ago.
Oh, thank you.
Come on, forget it. I'll take you to meet some friends. You love Flo. She's a... Oh,
Thanking you, I'm
sorry.
sure. That's all right, seeing as...
Hester, thank God you're here. I only missed you by a minute at your flat. Mrs. Elton suggested the Spitfire Club, and there the trail was easy.
Freddie? When did you get it?
An hour ago, it was in the letterbox. It's true, I suppose.
Yes, it's true.
I rather like his phrase, sorry to have caused you so much bother. It has a nice ring of RAF understatement, don't you think? Come along.
Thank you, Bill. It was just the air in there. I think I'll walk, Bill.
Get inside, will you? Back to Chester Square. You remember it?
No, Bill, I'm afraid...
We saw it together at the St. James's Galleries. You wanted me to buy it, and I read you a lecture on extravagance.
Oh, yes, of course.
As you see, I've changed my mind. Let me take your coat.
No, thank you, Bill.
I must apologize for the mess. I had some people in to dinner. An American judge and his wife, Johnny DeSantos. He's an ambassador now, you know. He's being transferred to Belgrade. And Olive Templeton. They say she dropped the usual cartload of bricks.
Poor Olive. She always looks so sad when she drops those bricks, doesn't she?
Like a startled panda. If only I could say something that could help you.
I'm so sorry, Bill.
I'll get you a brandy. Here, this is really good. Napoleon unadulterated.
Thank you.
Hester, I do hope you realize what it is I've been trying to say to you today.
Yes, Bill, I think I do. But you see, I can't come back here as your wife because I no longer am your wife. We can't wipe out the last year as if it had never happened, can we? Don't you understand that?
I only understand that I'm even more in love with you now than the day we married.
You weren't in love with me then, Bill, and you aren't in love with me now.
If I wasn't in love with you, why do you suppose I married you?
Oh, my dear, I'm not denying that you married for love, for your idea of love, as I did for mine. They just weren't the same idea, that's all. You see, I had more, far more to give you than you ever wanted or had time to accept from me.
You may be right. I find it easy to judge other people, but hard to judge myself. How shall I say it? You're probably the only person in the world I've always been a little frightened of.
Me, Bill? But that's ridiculous.
Well, the truth often is, isn't it? But the important thing is that now, more than ever, I want your love.
No, Bill. What you want is a loving wife. There's all the difference in the world. I don't want you to drive me home. I'll find my own way.
Hester, whatever your feelings may or may not be for me, don't you see that I'm offering you your only chance of life? Why can't you accept it? It worked quite happily once.
Yes, it did. Quite happily.
Well, then surely...
You see, Bill, I'm no longer the same person.
I'll get you a taxi.
How much is that, please?
$2.90.
Thank you.
I say, lady.
Freddie? Freddie?
Caught in the act. I'm sorry, Hess.
Did he send you to fetch his things?
Yeah, just enough for a couple of days or so. He gave me the key. I tried to get him to do his own dirty work, but he said that...
He was afraid of what I might do to keep him here. Where is he now?
I don't know.
But you were with him.
You think I'm an awful heel, but you see, Hess, for the first time, Freddie is talking sense tonight. The hard way is the best way, believe me. Hess, you mustn't think I don't know what you're going through at this moment.
Mustn't I?
I've had something like it myself, too, you know. Don't ever tell Liz, but we came as near to a bust-up as any two people can. It was over a model girl. Gosh, she was something. She had a pair of legs on her that... Well, anyway, it was purely physical, nothing else. I grant that now. But at the time, it seemed like all I could ever want from life. So you know what I did, Hess? With all the willpower I got, I wrote her a letter saying we were through. Went off somewhere for a couple of weeks entirely alone. And when I came back, I was cured.
I'm so glad. Where did you go?
Deal.
Oh, yes, I know it. There's a very good golf course.
Oh, sure. Well, the golf helped, too, quite a bit. But then you don't play, do you?
No, it's a pity, isn't it?
Oh, but the point is, Hess, if you have time to get things in perspective, you'll see how awfully petty it all really is. Well, heck, I'm no preacher, but it is the spiritual values that count in life, isn't it? I mean, the physical side is really awfully unimportant, objectively speaking.
Objectively speaking? Thank you for the advice, Jackie.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you for listening to it. Gosh, what a strange thing human nature can be.
Yes, it can be. Tell me, did Freddie ask you to take that bag to the station or back to the White Angel?
Oh, back to the White... back to where he is.
Would you mind leaving that bag and...
Oh, I can't do that. I promise, Freddie. Oh, Hess, please.
I must apologize for that rather melodramatic gesture. Sit down, Jackie. I won't keep you long. We'll have a splendid chance now of reinforcing your view about the strangeness of human nature.
Look, Hess, honestly, I don't think you should.
Hello, White Angel. Is Mr. Page there? Mr. Page? Yes, that's right. There's an awful lot of noise. The phone must be in the bar. Hello, Freddie. Darling, it's Hester. No, don't ring off, please. No scene, I promise. I promise, I promise. Freddie, I just wanted to know what you wanted done with the rest of your things. Oh? When did you post it? I'll get it tomorrow, then. In the cloakroom at Charing Cross Station. Yes. Yes, I'll see to that. Look, Freddie. There's just one last thing I want you to do for me. I said there's one last thing I want you to do. Come and collect your bag yourself. Just to say goodbye, that's all. No, I won't. I swear on my most sacred word of honor I won't try and make you stay. I won't even speak if you don't want me to. I just want to see you again, that's all. Oh, Freddie, trust me. Freddie, trust me for pity's sake. Freddie. Good night, Jackie.
Good night, Yes. You're all right alone, aren't you? I mean, you're not going to do anything silly tonight. You must have learned your lesson now.
Yes, I've learned my lesson.
Gosh, I think he should have come. He should have trusted you, Yes.
He was quite right not to.
But you gave me your sacred word of honor.
It may add to your appreciation of the spiritual values if I told you I hadn't the slightest intention of keeping my word. He knew that, of course. Funny. You have exactly the same expression on your face as my father would have had if I'd said that to him. He believed in the importance of the spiritual values and the pettiness of the physical side. You can take that back to Freddie now.
Should I give Freddie any kind of message from you?
Just my love. Who is it?
Miller,
What do you want? I was just going to bed.
I want to see you.
Can't it wait till the morning?
No.
Just a moment.
Determined not to be disturbed?
I usually lock my door at night.
Lucky you didn't last night. I want those sleeping pills.
Why?
I've been involved with the police enough in my life. Where are they?
On the table where you left them. You trusted me an hour ago. Why not now?
Because if you put a rug against a door, it's wiser to do it after the lights are out.
Why are you spying on me? Why can't you leave me alone?
What do you expect me to do? Sit in my room and let you die?
Why not? What have I got to live for now?
No less than anybody else who's alive tonight.
That's not true. It's not true.
You have condemned yourself to death, and I have the right to protest against the unfairness of your own sentence. The least you can do is to face the facts.
But I do.
No, you don't. You pretend to think that your Freddie has left you forever, when you know he hasn't.
He has left me forever. That's just what I can't face.
Oh, yes, you can. What you can't, or rather don't want to face, is the truth. Namely, that Freddie needs you much more than you need him.
What are you talking about? I've just been pleading with him on the telephone. He didn't even listen to me. That's how much he needs me.
He didn't listen because he hasn't the strength to stand up to you. You know that.
What? Oh, that may be. I don't know. But what I do know is that I haven't the strength to see him go.
I don't think it'll be long before he'll drift back to you. Then you may have that strength. Because you realize that it isn't you, but he who is the weak one. What is more important, you may also realize that if you are both to be saved, you are the only one... Now, please try to understand this. If you are both to be saved, you are the only one who has the courage to do it.
I have no courage.
I have far too much respect for you to believe that you have.
Respect.
Yes, respect.
Please don't be too kind.
Listen, my friend. To see yourself as the world sees you may be very brave. It can also be very foolish. Why accept the world's view of you as a weak-willed failure, better dead than alive? What right have they to judge? To judge you, then, is have the capacity to feel as you feel. Who has? 1 in 1,000. You alone know how you felt.
I tried to be good and failed. That's the excuse all criminals give, isn't it?
When they make it justly, it's a just excuse.
But does it let them escape their sentence?
Yes, if the judge is fair, and not blind with hatred of the criminal, as you are for yourself.
You can give me one extenuating circumstance, one reason why I should respect myself, even a little.
Hello.
Hello?
That reason you must find for yourself. Good evening, Mr. Bell.
Good evening. Did I interrupt something?
No, not really.
Seems quite a good bloke, old Miller. I must confess I was a bit prejudiced against him.
If you are both to be saved, you are the only one who has the courage to do it.
Anyway, I rang him tonight. I wanted him to take a look at you, see you were all right. We had quite a long chat. It's funny how much he seems to know about what makes people tick.
Don't stand in the door, Freddie. Come in. Did you come for your bag?
Yes, I suppose so.
Jackie took it with him. I expect he'll leave it at the White Angel.
Oh, well, I'll get it all right.
Thank you for coming.
That's okay.
When do you actually leave?
Well, I don't know exactly. It's not really settled yet.
You're flying, I suppose.
Yes, I suppose so.
I'll pack the rest of your things and get them to Charing Cross tomorrow morning.
Oh, there's no hurry.
I'd prefer to do it tonight.
Yes. I did a stupid thing tonight. I dropped a note in at Bill's house.
Yes, I know.
Oh, are you going?
No.
It wouldn't have worked again, would it?
No.
Yes, I've had a lot of time tonight to think over what happened this afternoon.
I promised I wouldn't talk about that.
Yes, I know you did. Well?
Well, goodbye, Freddie.
Goodbye, yes. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, too.
I'm going to miss you, Hess.
Goodbye.